It was when I got back to Palm Springs or Rancho Mirage and Palm Desert, where I was in the AA group. And I realized how totally focused I had been, preoccupied really, with whether they were going to serve liquor where I went or not at social settings. I realized if I thought they weren't going to serve drinks, I would figure out how we should have a drink before we went. Reality came in the fact that if my husband was running late and I thought we were going to get to this event, the dinner or cocktail party or whatever, late, I would be thoughtful to him and I would fix him martini on the rocks and put it up on his dresser. So as he was changing and getting showered and dressed, he could have a drink. Well, the truth was I fixed it so I could have a drink because I wouldn't think of having a drink if I wasn't doing it with him. I mean, it's the way our sick mind works, and we think it's okay, but in reality, I can remember thinking when I went to a luncheon and occasionally when they would serve sherry, and I didn't drink in the day except a luncheon like that where they served sherry. And of course that was one of my denials, I don't drink during the day, and so I can't be alcoholic, but I would move in the group that was having the pre-luncheon sherry so I could get a refill on my glass. And I began to get honest with myself. Just didn't matter about other people, but honest with myself. I just realized how that preoccupation was a very sick thing within me. And it took me a while before I could see that. As a result, of course, of all this, yes, I went to Long Beach Naval Hospital. And while I was there, I think there were probably only 2 of us who were not military. The rest were a lot of military who had come back. Some of them were from 29 Palms, some of them were pharmacists, some of them had come out of Washington, D.C., and they were vice admirals or admirals, and some were just the lower, it was a mix. There were probably only 6 of us out of 60 patients in that program that were women. And while I was there, I naturally spent a lot of time with men as well as women. And I found out the Navy has a totally different vocabulary than I had learned in my growing up. Now, my husband was a Navy man, but somehow I had never heard him use this vocabulary. So I had a little resentment about this program and having to go to treatment. So I took it all in. And every once in a while when I got home and I thought my family were being unusually demanding on something, I would come up with one of these 4-letter words that I had learned in my vocabulary. And, they were taken aback. They'd say, "Mother, where in the world did you hear that?" And I'd say, "Well, you sent me to the Navy program." And that's the way they talk. So it was just that little kind of meanness in me that was trying to get back at my family. But it was truly a great program. And of course the main thing, and they made it so important to me that when I got back here, that I associate and not only get myself a sponsor, but get into AA. And I can't stress that enough with you. I know our staff does. But one of the first calls you want to make when you go home is to find a meeting that you can go to, which if you aren't comfortable in it, find another meeting. And so on until you find one that you're comfortable. Or if you don't, then start one of your own, because there's no excuse not to be in meetings on a regular basis. I still go 22 years, still every week, a couple of times, at least once a week. And in the beginning, I went regularly on a daily basis. This 90 days, yes, and 90 meetings is a wonderful, wonderful way to start. I thought in the beginning I was very stupid. It took me a long time to learn. I think that's the disease. You have a great advantage here because we have a fabulous staff who have given you the tools that you can take with you. We cannot fix you. We can only give you the tools, and then it's up to you to fix yourselves. All we can do is provide to you the means of making this work. And it's only with patience and persistence and faith and courage and all those things that it's going to work for you. And I can tell you that when you go back out there, you know, everything isn't going to be cloud nine, although I sometimes hear people saying they're still on cloud nine, and I think, isn't that wonderful? But there is a reality in life, and we have a lot of disappointments. There's a lot of things that happen that will be hurtful or let us down, or things that are exhilarating and wonderful that are celebrations in our life. But all of those things can be dealt with in a very logical way if we will just use those 12 steps of AA, because there's answers in those steps to almost anything that can happen to you. In the years that I've been in AA, I have heard terrible, terrible tragedies, and people are handling them in their sobriety without having to drink or use drugs because they have the support system of AA and the AA people, the people that are in your particular group, and they are always there for you any hour of the day and night. So I can't stress that enough. Our family is so much better today than it was before. And we always had a very well-knit family. It was closeness, and we had grown up together, and of course we had all the things of raising children and having them not behave. But the closeness, the understanding in our family today, and the spirituality within it is just so much stronger. It's unbelievable. They would tell you that. Now, when I was at Long Beach, they went for a few days a week to the program there, and they let them sit in with other groups. We had, not my group, but another group, so that they could learn a little. I'm a